Yo, I'm Marcus, and today I'm breaking down some of the wildest prison escapes ever. Stories so crazy they sound fake, but every move actually happened, step by step right under authority noses. First up is the legendary escape from Maze Prison, sitting outside Belfast, once called the most secure prison anywhere in Europe during decades of non-stop political chaos. This all went down during a violent period called the Troubles, when tensions exploded between groups fighting over control of Northern Ireland, turning the entire region into a constant battleground. The Maze held members of the Irish Republican Army, also known as the IRA, locked up for bombings, shootings, and trying to overthrow British rule in the region. What made this prison terrifying wasn't just guards with guns everywhere, but the layout itself. 8 massive concrete H-shaped blocks, each one sealed off like its own mini fortress. Inside every H block, the center section was totally restricted, holding the control room, meaning prisoners never went there unless guards allowed it, which almost never happened. But 2 inmates, Bobby Story and Gary Kelly, figured out a loophole that would change everything, getting jobs as orderlies, one of the few roles allowed inside restricted zones. For months, they played it cool, acted friendly, cracked jokes, ran errands, slowly building trust with guards who never suspected these guys were planning the biggest breakout imaginable. That trust paid off big time because the guards got lazy, rules loosened, and suddenly restricted areas weren't so restricted anymore, basically turning locked doors into suggestions. Through smuggling and corrupted routines, Story and Kelly managed to get their hands on small firearms inside the prison. Which sounds impossible, but greed and carelessness make anything happen. September 25, 1983, was the chosen day, and once it started, there was no going back as prisoners rushed guards, seized weapons, stole uniforms, and blocked all alarm systems. The takeover of H7 block happened fast, violent, and loud, but no alarm sounded, buying the inmates precious time while terrified guards were tied up and silenced. Hours later, the escape hit phase 2 when a food delivery truck rolled in, totally clueless, until prisoners jumped the driver and threatened his life without hesitation. 37 inmates packed into the truck's back while Gary Kelly hid under the driver's seat, gun pointed upward, ordering him to drive straight to the main prison gate. At the gate, things went from controlled to chaotic instantly. Guards fought back, alarms finally screamed, and new guards arriving for shift change walked into pure nightmare fuel. Imagine clocking in and seeing nearly 40 armed prisoners brawling with your coworkers, knives flashing, shots fired, bodies everywhere, total madness erupting in seconds. During that chaos, one guard tragically died from a heart attack after being stabbed, turning the escape into a deadly event that shocked the entire country. Still, many prisoners made it past the inner gates and sprinted toward the outer walls, expecting armed IRA members waiting outside to help them vanish into freedom. That backup never showed up, because the timing was miscalculated, leaving escaping inmates stranded, panicked, hijacking cars, or running through fields on pure adrenaline. Most escapees were eventually caught, but 2 vanished forever, never found, never confirmed dead, instantly becoming legends whispered about in underground circles. The Maze escape humiliated the government, exposed massive security failures, and became powerful propaganda for the IRA, proving even the strongest walls can crack from inside. Now let's switch gears because the next escape goes underground, literally, starring the kingpin himself. Joaquin Guzman, better known as El Chapo. At his peak, El Chapo was worth over $1 billion, running drug empires while bribing officials like it was pocket change, making prison just another obstacle. In 2015, he was locked inside Altiplano Prison, Mexico's top maximum security facility, a place designed so no one ever leaves unless it's in cuffs. On July 11th, guards watched El Chapo enter his cell's shower area, the one blind spot without cameras, and at first, nobody thought anything was off. Minutes passed, then 25, then more, and guards finally checked, only to find El Chapo gone and a massive hole hidden beneath a loose floor tile. That hole led to a tunnel stretching nearly a mile long, straight under the prison, popping up outside in a dusty field near fake construction houses. Here's the insane part. This tunnel wasn't some dirty crawl space. It had lights, wooden supports, airflow pipes, and even metal tracks built with precision. El Chapo's crew bought land nearby, pretending to build homes, while secretly digging day after day with pickaxes, hiding dirt across fields to avoid suspicion. It took 16 months to build, but when the tunnel reached El Chapo's cell, the escape itself took minutes, as he dropped down and rode out on a modified motorcycle. Yes, a motorcycle underground, on rails, in a ventilated tunnel, because when you're that rich, even prison breaks come first class. The escape embarrassed Mexico worldwide, exposing corruption, bribery, and how deep El Chapo's influence really went, proving money can literally move mountains. But don't blink, because next up, we're jumping back in time to World War II, where desperation and teamwork created one of history's boldest prison escapes. That's where I'll pick it up next, because what hundreds of prisoners pulled off together might be the most insane plan you've ever heard. Now we're heading into World War II, where hope was thin, fear was constant, and survival meant planning the boldest prison break ever attempted by Allied soldiers. The escape happened at Stalag Luft III, a massive prisoner of war camp run by Nazi Germany's Air Force, built specifically to stop tunneling attempts. The camp covered over 60 acres, held more than 10,000 Allied prisoners, and was designed with sandy soil meant to collapse tunnels before anyone could escape. But one man refused to accept that fate, a South African pilot named Roger Bushell, who dreamed up the most ambitious escape plan ever attempted. Instead of freeing 20 prisoners like past attempts, Bushell planned to free 200 men at once, overwhelming German resources and forcing chaos across occupied Europe. The plan involved digging 3 separate tunnels at the same time, nicknamed Tom, Dick, and Harry, all starting from different locations to confuse German guards. If one tunnel got discovered, the Germans wouldn't suspect the others, and work could continue secretly without losing everything to one unlucky inspection. Tunnel Tom was discovered first and blown up with explosives, destroying months of work in seconds, crushing morale but not killing the plan. Tunnel Dick had to be abandoned when prison expansion changed the landscape, but it still served as a secret storage area for dirt and supplies. That left Tunnel Harry, the final hope, dug nearly 30 feet underground, barely wide enough for a grown man to crawl through on elbows and knees. Digging was slow, silent, and exhausting, all done with homemade tools while guards patrolled above, never realizing hundreds of men were working beneath their boots. The biggest problem wasn't digging, it was hiding the dirt, so prisoners stuffed soil into their pants, letting it slowly spill out while walking around casually. Others hid dirt in gardens, under floorboards, and inside Tunnel Dick, turning the entire camp into a massive teamwork operation fueled by patience and trust. After more than a year of non-stop work, Tunnel Harry was finally complete, and the prisoners prepared fake documents, civilian clothes, and travel plans. Only 200 men were chosen, split into groups, experienced escape artists first, then volunteers picked by luck, knowing capture could mean death. On March 24, 1944, the escape began at night, but immediately hit problems when the exit hatch froze shut, delaying everything for 90 painful minutes. When it finally opened, they realized the tunnel ended short of the tree line, forcing prisoners to escape slowly to avoid a nearby guard tower. Air raids cut power, tunnel collapses stalled progress, and tension skyrocketed. But still, 76 men made it out before guards spotted number 77. The escapees scattered across the countryside, but tragedy followed, as most were recaptured and, on orders from Adolf Hitler, 50 prisoners were executed. Though heartbreaking, the Great Escape became a symbol of resistance, proving that even behind barbed wire, the human spirit refuses to be locked down. Now let's fast forward to America, to a prison sitting on a cold rock in San Francisco Bay, once thought to be totally escape-proof. Alcatraz Penitentiary held the most dangerous criminals, surrounded by freezing water, strong currents, and constant guard patrols. On June 12, 1962, guards noticed something strange when inmates failed to show up for morning count, leading to one of the creepiest discoveries ever. Inmate Frank Morris appeared asleep, until a guard tapped his head and it rolled off, revealing a fake papier Dempsey dummy. The same thing was found in the cells of brothers John Anglin and Clarence Anglin, meaning all 3 were gone. A 4th man, Alan West, was supposed to escape too, but his tunnel collapsed, leaving him trapped and later forced to explain the entire plan. Salt air had weakened the concrete vents in their cells, allowing the men to slowly chip them wider over months using stolen tools and insane patience. They hid their progress with painted fake vents and worked at night, slipping into a utility corridor where they secretly built a raft and paddles. The raft was made from raincoats, stitched together, sealed with steam pipes, and inflated using a modified accordion that somehow stayed silent. That night, the men climbed onto the roof, slid down pipes, crossed fences, and launched into the freezing bay under cover of darkness. Officials believe they drowned, but evidence suggests otherwise, including sightings, stolen cars, and theories pointing toward Angel Island as their landing point. No bodies were ever found, no proof confirmed, leaving the escape a mystery that still haunts investigators and fuels endless debate. And that's why these escapes still matter, because whether underground, over walls, or across open water, someone always finds a way out. I'm Marcus, and if you think these were insane, just remember, history is full of people who refuse to stay locked up. If you are interested in further videos like this, subscribe, like, and share, and don't forget to press the bell icon.